It's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's our goal. Hey, it's time for breaking bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of Breaking Bread with Tom Papa. I'm Tom Papa. Thank you so much for being here on this glorious, glorious day. I'm recording this on a Sunday night, but what I'm presenting is an interview that I did with the great Maeve Higgins. She's so wonderful, hilarious comedian and writer of Irish heritage, and she is just a delight. You're going to love this interview. We had such a great time together, and I quickly decided I'm going to make her my friend, and you'll see why. I'd like to thank the good people at Ritual Multivitamins. Ritual Multivitamins, thank you so much for sponsoring today's show. They are delivered to your door every month, specially formulated to help fill the gaps in your diet. Get key nutrients without the BS. Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/papa, P-A-P-A, to start your Ritual today. Great multivitamin. I'll talk a little bit more about it later in the show. A good company, Ritual Multivitamins. Thanks for coming on board Breaking Bread. As I said, it is Sunday night. I have a glass of wine in my hand. I am just wrapping up a giant dinner that I made for my family. And, I was wandering around. I had shows last night and the night before. Kira Sultanovich and I were cranking out great shows in Eugene, Oregon and Thousand Oaks, California. A lot of early morning travel, a lot of hustle and bustle, great shows, great crowds. The tour has just been amazing. Kira is just stupendous. But, it's an energy dump. By the time you roll around on Sunday, you're pretty spent. And I kind of wander around a little bit like Mr. Magoo, wondering, what am I going to do? What am I read the paper? Do I hang out? Do I work out? What do I do? Do I play with the dogs? The greatest solve is no, it's Sunday. This is the day that I cook. I cook for my family. And I go to the market and I get my stuff. I get my canned tomatoes. I get my celery and my carrots and some baby arugula and some Gouda cheese and a nice bottle of wine, and come back and get into the process of making everybody's Sunday dinner. That's just the way it's got to be. Forget all the questions. Forget all the figuring stuff out. That is what makes me happy. Get in there, start chopping, put on some music, hold off on the wine until I know that the meal is past the point of being able to be knocked off course by me having an early buzz. Once it's into the safety zone, pop open the bottle, call everybody around, start serving it up. And the good thing is I usually hit that at around 4 or 5 o'clock. People are sitting down no later than 5:30. And you have this big, wonderful meal. You open up the wine. You open up conversation. It's all great. Check in with everybody before the beginning of the week. And it's all over by 7. And then you have the rest of your night to go about your business and get your life in order before the week kicks off. And I realized my week has to kick off with Maeve Higgins. We sat down, had this great conversation. I love her so much. I mean, I've literally just met her. She did my radio show and then was great enough to do my podcast. She has a new book out called Tell Everyone on This Train I Love Them. It's so good. A collection of essays. She has this great way of giving a refreshing take on America and on human nature. She's an outsider to America in some way. She lives here, but she comes from Ireland. So she gives that nice perspective of somebody who's not in the house, but is close enough that you call them family. And that is one slice of it. And I know, like, when you read press about her and stuff, that's always what they say. And I'm sure she's very proud of it as well. But for me, it's just great to see someone who's such a great writer and such a funny comedian and such a funny voice diving into human nature. That to me is her real talent. And sitting down with her, you'll see from this conversation, she's just great. Everything that she puts in her writing just comes out naturally when you talk to her. And any interview that starts off talking about Irish soda bread, come on, how do you not fall in love with that person? She starred in a movie called Extraordinary. She's just a multi-talented person. We talked about everything except rats. She's obsessed with rats in New York since the pandemic. Outdoor dining, there's been the rats are having a moment, and she is a good writer and a good journalist would do. She's kept her eye out. And I really wanted to get into the rats, and we didn't have a chance to do it. So we're going to do it when she returns, and she will return because she's been harassing me. She's definitely a little aggressive. She started to catch wind that people have gotten bread on this podcast, and she did not receive bread. But she was in New York, and I was in L.A. She didn't seem to accept that explanation, and she wants me to sit down with her and feed her, which I have to say is on my list of top things to do this year. She's so great. You're going to love her. You're going to love this conversation. Please welcome the great Maeve Higgins. Hi, Maeve.
Hi, Tom. Welcome to Breaking Bread.
Thanks for having me. So how long have you been baking bread?
I think I got the wrong impression of this show. I told you I listened to the Jim Gaffigan episodes. I really, really love him. And like you brought him donuts in that. So I thought like, oh my God, like Tom sends us food and then we eat it together. But
well, he doesn't send you food. He waits to see who comes to him. And then if someone makes the effort to visit, then he showers you with bread and donuts and Irish soda bread.
You make that?
Yes.
You know, my grandmother always said it was the best way to clean under your nails is to make soda bread.
He's right. I am literally, I always have stuff under my nails and flour on my sweaters, and it's
like you learned how to be cute from like a 1990s rom-com, where the woman is always a baker. Like you always just have a little bit of flour on your cheek.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel like if I was really cool, I would have pants that just was splattered with paint. That was just like that. The painter, he never even changes his pants.
He's too creative.
Yeah, this is like the lesser version of that. It's like, oh, there's some white stuff on you. that's flour.
So do you smell so nice all the time? My sister's a baker and she just always smells lovely, kind of like cardamom and
the house. I don't know how I smell. That's up for debate. But the house smells really well, really good. It's always has that fresh baked bread, like at least 2 times a week.
Oh, heaven.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not sure how you smell, I would say your family did ask me to bring this up. Like you could check in around that.
Check in, like ask.
Yeah, you could ask people. How do I smell? Like, why are you making that face? And
I don't find that people are that. I don't find that people are that honest when you ask those questions. Like I literally, I'm probably 10 pounds heavier than I was in November.
Cute.
And
you trying to get up a bit more?
And I'm trying to bulk up. And
Good.
I think I might have, there you make these increases and then you plateau.
Yeah.
And then you need another increase and you plateau until it's all over. And and I'll literally ask my family, do I look chubby? And nobody says yes. Nobody says maybe you could lose a couple. They no, you look the same. I don't know if they don't care or if they are just, I think people just people are just try and be kind and they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah. I mean, also like you know, when you live with somebody, you kind of lose track of like what they look like or smell like. Like all your kind of bodies are just like the same big body or something. Because I remember my mom, if someone was like, "Oh, you're married to Dave," you know, and he's one of like 9 kids or whatever. Which one is he? Does he have a mustache? And my mother was like, "Oh, I don't know. Oh my God." She'd been married to him for 30 years and she couldn't remember if he had a mustache or not.
Yeah, it's
So they
really
might not
true.
be able to see you. And also like 10
Yeah.
pounds, you know what? That's just nothing, you know.
10, yeah, but you know, it's 10 more than I just keep climbing. It's okay. I'll be all right.
Oh, I'm not worried about you. I mean, I'm of the generation that just thinks like being quite fat is really good. And being chubby is fine, but you should really try and get a bit fatter. Like chubby, okay, fine, but you're not really committing to the bit there.
In the olden days, at some point, you probably know better than I, it showed wealth. It showed that you were the chubbier you were, the better off you were.
Yep.
It was so then it was deemed sexier.
Yeah.
But I don't think the wealth connection is part of this new movement.
You mean, so like now, like body positivity and like fat positivity, what I subscribe to myself is neutrality, which is obviously really hard to be neutral about anything because I have so many opinions about everything.
Yes.
But I think people who are like body positive, who are like, you need to love your body, you know, fat, thin, however it is, I think they're like, I don't think it's to do with being a sign of being wealthy. No.
No.
Now I feel like thinness is about wealth. Thinness is equated to wealth more than fatness is.
Yeah, you have so much money that you don't even care about eating.
Yeah, you forget to eat. Does that ever happen? That's so
yeah, because
people are like, oh, I was just counting my Bitcoin or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I'm just so I didn't know what to do with all of my cocaine. And I lost track of the time.
I didn't know what to do with all of my cocaine.
What have you eaten today?
So I would say last night I was out celebrating. And so
congratulations. Were you celebrating? Sorry to interrupt, but I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
Were you celebrating that because your book came out? Was that the celebration, or was it just because it was
it was my book launch?
Woo-hoo!
And yeah, and it was lovely. So I actually only had 2 drinks, but I guess sometimes they really hit me. Other times that does nothing, you know.
Yeah.
But I woke up pretty hungover, so I went down to my local coffee shop and I got a cinnamon roll.
Ooh.
That's a real treat for me.
Well, you deserve it. You got a book come out.
Heaven.
Right? And when you walk in there, you think, I deserve this. I'm getting this cinnamon treat.
Yeah, I used to do a joke before about how like I deserve it would turn into like a self-hating thing, like I deserve it, you know, like I'd start on like a family pack of M&Ms. I'd be like, I deserve this, and by the end of it I'd be crying, be like, yeah, that's right, bitch, you do deserve it, it's all you deserve. But I don't feel that way about food anymore. I feel very upbeat about it, and my body too. And so yeah, I absolutely, I needed like sugar this morning, and I needed comfort this morning, so I had this like beautiful cinnamon roll with coffee, and it really made me feel a lot better.
That's good. What were you drinking last night? What did you drink?
I had a Negroni is my drink. Love a Negroni, and it was a good one actually. I went to like an Italian place near the event, and had a Negroni and then had pasta with a glass of red wine. It was just some kind of Cabernet Sauvignon.
That's why you're hungover. That's why you're hungover.
Mixing is what they taught us to do in school.
Yeah, and also a lot of sugar. You had all your pasta and all your wine.
Yeah. No, I did a really good job.
Yeah, and then you wake up and your eyes open and you think, I need more sugar.
I'm so happy on this roller coaster though, I have to say. I'm hoping to like tonight my friends are making dinner, and it just feels so exciting, Tom, because like I've really missed that, like going out and like purposefully like having a good time. And now Omicron is still very much in New York, but it's lifting a little bit. So like, yeah, I'm taking, oh my God. Do you remember in Pride and Prejudice, one of the, I think it's like one of the aunts tells one of her nieces, like, take every opportunity to enjoy yourself. And like, I feel like I'm doing that, like any opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm
right.
like,
you have to.
being so greedy for fun.
You mentioned Pride and Prejudice in your book also, and it's my sister's favorite book of all time.
Oh.
And I read it for the first time pretty recently, and I didn't want to say it to her, and I'm a little hesitant to say it to you. I was like, yeah, okay.
She's with me now, actually. Come in.
No.
Come through. Here she is.
No.
You piece of shit. Hey, brother.
It's
You
usually
didn't like it. This is her, by the way.
Wow, she's tough. She's
She's
can't believe she's
Irish.
smoking now.
She does. She smokes. She's
Jane
just a real
smokes.
puff past the Jane Austen book.
Is it one of your favorite books?
It's not actually. But I do really enjoy it, and I get a kick out of it, and I think she's so clever, and like in that way that like comedians that I like do. She really notices the tiny things,
Right.
and she really like blows them up, and she sees the significance in very small moments. And so I think she's a fabulous writer. It's just not one of my favorite books, but I do love it. And I also love, like, there's a BBC adaptation that's a 6-hour long that like me and all my sisters watched when we were like 14, that did us untold damage, I'm sure, because we expected like, because basically it's like a horrible guy who's really mean, and then he comes around. So
Right. After torturing her.
yeah, it's not like the healthiest setup, but as a kind of examination of like what life was like then, it can't be beat.
Right. Your writing is so good, and allow me to embarrass you and compliment you right to your face. But you're really good, Maeve. And I literally laughed out loud at just the one image of in the acting essay about how when I'm going to paraphrase it, but when you lean in, when you lean in close to someone's face, when you're telling them what is it when they're asking you if you're an actor?
Yeah, I actually don't know the
You
bit
remember
anymore.
that?
I'm so sorry.
Oh shit,
but like,
it's so good. It
yeah.
was so funny of like, it was kind of like, are you starring in this film? And you kind of lean in.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Close to the,
because like I'm in one film like in my life, right? And so and it just so happens that like my friends wrote it and it was with me in mind. So people, when I do say like, oh, I'm actually like in a movie, you know, I actually do act. Often, especially like people in the industry, you know, they're like, oh, like, do you have a line? You know, like they just assume that it's like small, whatever. And that's when I like to get really close so they can feel my breath. I say, oh, I'm the lead.
Right.
I'm actually the lead.
When I lean in close to your face so you can feel my breath. It's so funny.
And it's like, that is kind of, you know, I mean, that is kind of how I feel about that, because it's such a strange situation to never be in anything and then suddenly be the lead in a feature. Like, it's so silly. It's such a silly thing to happen.
It's so great. Yeah. And just that thing of yes. But it is interesting when you search you on the internet, it is Irish actor is like the lead thing on in the Google verse.
Really?
Which is kind of, because what do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself more a writer?
A writer. I mean, like, if I look at what I actually get paid to do, which is, I mean, how do you even start defining yourself? I think, you know, I mean, obviously lover and, you know, sex symbol,
influencer,
plaything. You know? But like, yeah, I think if I look at what I get paid for and like my taxes, it's like a writer. But whatever. I mean, you just can't control the internet also. And I don't mean like where people might like gossip about you, or like they might say things about you as like a well-known person, Tom. Like with me, it's just like, oh, a child did my Wikipedia page like in 2006. So I can't really control that.
Well, you know, you can go in and change things on Wikipedia yourself if you want.
Sometimes my agent is like, Maeve, you just need to like put together all your stuff in one place, and so people understand that, like, you know. And I'm just, oh, that idea is so exhausting to me.
Hire that same child that did it. They're probably in high school now. Get them to go in and do it.
I should do that. Yeah. And it's also like, I mean, people don't really I guess like I don't really believe what I read on the internet about other people. So if I, you
Mhm.
know, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
I did
true.
act in one movie, so I am an actor in that way.
You are.
You're giving me an existential crisis now, Tom.
Well, that's
What am
good.
I?
This is what good hangovers are made of.
That's just what I need.
Why be hungover unless you're going to really take at least a moment to reevaluate who you
Yeah,
are and what you've done.
yeah, yeah.
You
What's the
deserve it.
point anyway? God.
You've your essays are so good, and I naturally love the quiet optimism of your writing. Like you definitely tackle real subjects, especially in looking at America and trying to figure out, just kind of as a little bit of an outsider, like, hey guys, let me give you a little perspective of what you might be going through, and
And
you do
people love
challenge
that.
them. Yeah, they love that, but they love it from you because there's a sense of humor, and there's an optimism. There really is a hopefulness. And
Yeah.
do you live your life that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I would say this is true of like my stand up. I would say it's true of your stand up too. It's like, yes, acknowledging things that are hard or like stupid or pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Good, like do all of that. But first of all, do it with some levity and some humanity, which include humanity innately includes humor and
Mm-hmm.
levity. And if you leave that out, you're not actually being truthful. Um, and second of all, it's very like luxurious to be nihilistic,
Mm-hmm.
like it's very
Right.
easy and it's very privileged to kind of say, well, there's nothing we can do now. Because if you have to do something about it, and I'm talking here about migration, climate, like huge things, then
Mm-hmm.
you will do something about it. So by kind of saying, oh, too bad, looks like we're all going to burn up. First of all, you're probably not the one who's going to burn up, at least first. And second of all, you haven't been trying, like, and you think you don't have to try. So
Right.
hopelessness and nihilism are, I think, lazy and boring, like from an entertainment point of view. And also
Yes.
they're not fair, like in there, because you haven't tried often. Because I have done, like I don't mean just be like speaking the abstract. I suppose what I mean is, say on the climate catastrophe, like I did a podcast with Mary Robinson about climate justice, and we just talked to different women. It was all a feminist podcast, and we talked to different women who are working like to fight against like a whole variety of like climate disasters, like slow
Right.
moving and fast. And like those women, truly, like none of them were like downbeat and self-serious.
Uh-huh.
All of them were action taking. Hopeful is a bit of a funny word, but like they were optimistic because they
Right.
had dedicated their lives, so they obviously believed that something
Something could
better
be
was
done.
possible. And I think, like, with your style of comedy, I would say like Jim Gaffigan. I don't mean to like keep talking about Jim Gaffigan, but like
You
that
love him.
style of comedy, right? That's like not dark and like hopeless.
Mm-hmm. Cynicism.
That's actually, it's not cynical. Like that's actually difficult. But the funny
Yeah.
thing is, you get a lot more praise, and this goes for comedy. This definitely goes for writing. You
Mm-hmm.
get a lot more praise if you are, these words like unrelenting, like, I really, wow, he really makes you face things, and
Edgy.
and like pulls no punches. It's like, I'm sorry, would you mind pulling a few? This is really hard already.
Right.
But
No, it's
yeah.
true. Jim and I talk about that often. That those kind of acts get the headlines. They get the because it's an easy thing to write about. It's an easy thing to write of, like, this is, he's really showing us with it. And it's like, it actually is, you're right, it is more difficult, and I think more valuable ultimately to go the other way.
Yeah. I was just thinking there, like, about there's this he's like a kind of a funny poet, like a Yosimar Reyes, his name is. He lives in LA actually.
Hmm.
And years ago he started this, it was a hashtag called UndocuJoy, and he's undocumented, and he's an advocate for undocumented people's rights to a path to citizenship. And his really big point, and one that still stands today, is undocumented people have a real struggle. Like, I think it's really brutal how this country and immigration system treats them. And there's 11 million undocumented people. But he was like, yeah, but we also like fall in love, and we also have parties, and we also like learn and love, like,
right.
There's so much more to his life and to every undocumented person's life than just like this kind of grinding story of like oppression.
Right.
And it's like not fair to,
yeah,
to reduce people to, to just like a sadness or
it's true.
drooling.
Yeah, without that, you're right. You hear undocumented, it's just this block of people that are avoiding the DMV and shuttling off in the shadows.
Right. And that then makes them sound like victims. And I think it's not too far a leap to say, with comedy, if you are talking about, being the kind of the underdog, or, you should take care with that, because there's people listening to you, and this goes for body stuff, this goes for political power, anything. You should take care with how you present, because you don't want to say like, but I'm powerless. You can, and I guess if you feel that way, but if you educate yourself and if you listen to the right people,
right, yeah, that's a huge thing. I have 2 daughters, and that's the thing I keep trying to eke into the conversations is, yes, there's obstacles, yes, there's struggles, there's all of these things, but you're not a victim. Don't there's there seems to be this tendency now to just go into victimhood, and that's not the way you should digest this information and use it for your life. You're just giving up at that point. You really have to kind of own the pain, and then go out there and use it, know what you're up against, but now how are we going to go forward with it?
Yeah. And I can see how, like, if I was, a teenager now, knowing what I know about like the kind of, because I studied sociology, it's like, okay, there are systemic, things at work against me. And it is extra hard if you are Black in this country. It's extra hard if you're a trans woman in this country, in very real ways, right?
Yeah.
Like, harder to get, depending on what zip code you live in, you'll have a shorter life than somebody who lives in a different zip code. So there's real victimization, there's real oppression. But I suppose it's the stories that we tell. I mean, that's the only skill I have, is like storytelling, is to say, like, as you said, understand that, like, understand what you're facing, understand what you're up against.
Yeah.
And then I think also a big part of it is knowing you're not alone. So like, like, you learn these things from people who are in your community, be that women, be that gay people, be that, white men who are very, having
big struggle.
And then you can then you can kind of own your power as well, as well as all the things that you're up against.
Right.
And it is a disservice to yourself to think you're powerless.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I always say to Americans is you're an American citizen. That's huge.
Yeah,
that's already like a golden ticket right there.
Does it really help?
I mean, it's a very powerful passport. People hate when I say that to them, but it is a powerful passport. Like, you're like a member of like the world's richest country. So
I remember for a while people were telling us that we should try and get passports. We should try and whatever dual citizenship you could get. Like, I should get an Italian one.
Yeah.
Because they'll be nicer to you when you're traveling around. This was like during right after like 9/11 and that kind of thing. Oh my
God.
Yeah.
The freedom fries era.
Yeah. And like, as if any American could take a passport and like get their grandmothers get the Italian version, and they wouldn't know you were American immediately. Like as soon as you walk in the door, yeah.
You could pass for Italian. I mean, you'd have to definitely like do a kind of outfit, like a kind of a prank show style
scarf. Yeah.
Totally. But I feel, I mean, that would be, if you get an Italian passport, you then have an EU passport, and then you could just be a European legend.
That would be pretty good. That would be pretty sweet. Yeah. I've never been to Ireland.
Get off this Zoom.
I'm so sorry.
What am I doing?
I know I should have told you before you agreed.
It's closer to in New York, where I am right now. I'm closer to Ireland than I am to LA. It's so close.
Yes.
It's like a 5.5 hour
spiritually or mileage. Because there's some great Irish bars in New York. Yeah, right, exactly.
Like flying there takes less time than it does take to fly to LA. But I mean, I understand it's like a different nation and a different time zone. I mean, you're still in a different time zone.
Nervous. I get very nervous going through customs.
Oh, well, wait, so you never did comedy, but you did comedy in England, right? You didn't do comedy in the UK?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I haven't done in the UK. I've only done Amsterdam and the Middle East, Beirut and Dubai.
You did? Oh my God.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I weird.
Why would you though? Like,
I want to. I've always desperately wanted to, but it just never. Yeah, I'm going to.
Are you barred from international travel?
I can't talk about that.
Just a side in diamond smuggling or something? I can't
really say. Do you go back often, or do you not go back?
I mean, no, I do go back. I spent a large part of the pandemic there. I mean, I actually did write this in the book, which was I was in San Antonio in Texas when the pandemic started in early March, and I felt so like unsafe. It was a DHS, the Department of Homeland Security event that I was reporting on.
Right.
And I felt like they were being so reckless and insane at this huge like expo thing. So I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. Like, I don't want to be in this country with these guys in charge. Right. It's still under Trump, but it was just, and it did turn out very bad here.
Yeah.
So I fled. I mean, much and all as I love being here, and I love, I'm a New Yorker, like New Yorker nowhere. The minute there was trouble, I was like, yikes. and I thought it was like almost St. Patrick's Day too. Remember, it was like March 17th.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you would be not that any sane person would be thinking about that, but I was like, it felt like there was like a shamrock in the sky, like a bat light of a shamrock in the sky. I was like calling me back home.
Get out of here.
So I was just like on one of the first flights. In fact, it was at that time when like some people still didn't think there was going to be a pandemic, and so like me and my friend were so scared, and we were like wearing like gloves and masks and everything on the plane. And then like all these really drunk Irish guys were on the plane. They had all been to a boxing match in like Madison Square Garden.
Oh no.
And they were so drunk getting on the plane, and they were like, what are you doing? Like, the way drunk people are like a bit like toddlers. They're so honest, and what are you doing? And I said, there's a disease, in the air or whatever. They're like, go out, get out of here. Jesus Christ, you're mad.
Were you, when you were packing up, was it like, did you feel like I'm fleeing and looking at your stuff like, I'll take the important things, or did you feel like, oh, I'll be back in a month?
Oh, I thought I would be back. I mean, that's the thing. So I left just my apartment and everything the way it was. And then the months ticked by, and I was like, well, I can't pay rent. I'm like not even working. So then I called this like moving organization. Why did I say a moving organization? Movers.
Because you're so fancy. You write for the New York Times. Look, you live in a different world than the rest of us.
The gray lady would say,
please summon a moving organization. I'm about to depart.
take it to the boat. But yeah, and so I called them. I was like, this is an unusual request, but like, I'm not home, but I need you to go and pack up my apartment. And they were like, hey lady, like, we're doing this, 22 hours a day. Because I guess so many people,
Yeah.
had thought, oh, it's gonna. So
Right.
then I guess my stuff was in storage. Then it was like stuck on a boat somewhere. So yeah, I just had a suitcase until I still just have 2 suitcases
Wow.
since March of 2020. Because then I sent my things back to Ireland, but I guess they got like lost. They didn't get lost, but they got like held up on the water because there was all those like shipping delays.
Right.
And then I went back home. This is just like the inside out admin of
Yeah.
But anyway, I went back home and the stuff had all finally arrived. It was the most busted up, hilarious. Like
No.
my poor dad, he put it all in the shed and he was like, was this what your bookshelf looked like before, love? And I said, these shards of broken wood? No, that's not what my bookshelf looked like before.
Oh my God.
So then me and my dad had this whole day where we
Ugh.
went to the dump. Is there a good dump near you?
No, which I grew up in New Jersey and
Oh,
we had a great dump. It was like
Dump Central.
it was so fun. The whole place was a dump. Out here, there's no dump.
I have to say, we had a brilliant day because like he has a big truck thing because he's in construction. And so
Uh-huh.
we had to put everything like broken electrical in one place and then everything recyclable. And it did feel like we were in like a child's cartoon because like everything out there is so big.
Yeah.
And we were like going around from place to place. And it felt good to finally like have my stuff back after 2 years, even though
Yeah.
it was all broken.
It's all demolished. Here's my question that's kind of even more inside. What did they do with the stuff in the refrigerator?
I had said to my cousin to go and take out all my food because I have
Okay.
one cousin that lives here. And
Okay.
so he went and he had cleared it out. But that's a very good question.
Yeah, that's what I just pictured. Things growing and
I know. And like smelling them. Actually, that's still good.
hey.
Like that muscle milk or whatever.
Everybody wants to take care of themselves. Everybody wants nice balance in their life. And it's always nice when a good company comes along like Ritual Multivitamins and gives you a hand. Multivitamins should contain key nutrients and forms your body can actually use to help fill the gaps in your diet. No shady extras. Ritual's delayed release capsule design delivers high quality nutrients, including vitamin D3 in just 2 pills. It's now available for women, men, and teens. Ritual multivitamins are scientifically developed to help support different life stages. Your multivitamins are delivered to your door every month with free shipping, always. You can start, snooze, or cancel your subscription anytime. And if you don't love Ritual within the first month, they'll refund your order. I'm always trying to live a healthier life. I'm always trying to create some kind of a balance, trying to eat the right things, trying to exercise, trying to be a little decadent at times and then dial it back. And it's nice when you have somebody who actually gives you a little guidance and a great product. You get key nutrients without the BS. Ritual is offering my listeners 10% off your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/papa to start your ritual today. Vegan certified, non-GMO, gluten and allergy free. These people really care about the product that they're making. 9 nutrients to help fill the gaps in your diet. Transparently sourced ingredients and minty tab keeps it fresh. Ritual Vitamins, ritual.com. Let me give you the offer one more time. It's offering my listeners 10% off your first 3 months. Visit ritual.com/papa to start your ritual today. Thank you to the good people at Ritual for coming on board Breaking Bread. But where do you write?
I have like an office and I write in the office and
Okay.
then I try and do set hours and everything,
Yeah.
yeah.
That is the biggest thing, is the solitude. It really is such a, I mean, that's it. It's really just trying to fortify yourself from interruption. That is the
Yeah.
hardest thing. My schedule was to wake up in the morning and get my coffee and go into the office and stay there till noon. And that was my ritual, and it was great. And it was, whether it was productive or not depended on the day, of course. And then once I started this radio show and it interrupted my morning, and then things are happening afternoon, and then people are coming home later, it's like, it's chaos. It's that is the biggest struggle for writing. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obsessed with this stuff, and like I always read about people's rituals, and like I definitely think being a parent makes it hard, and also being like just like alive today when we just like have to earn money, and like you don't really earn the money from writing, you earn it from like tons of other things.
Yeah.
So trying to prioritize it, like Maeve Binchy, who's like an Irish writer, she used to get up at 5 a.m., make coffee, write for 2 hours, so and then at 7 a.m. like the house would wake up or whatever. Roald Dahl used to tie himself to his chair. He had a shed in his garden, and he would physically tie himself to his chair.
He would. Oh my
God. And I mean then there's like so I'm not as kind of tough on myself as I used to be, but I still do set a timer for 45 minutes, and I turn everything off, and I listen to loud music. Those are the ways that I get it done. But yeah, you kind of do have to
with lyrics or with no lyrics.
No lyrics.
Yeah.
The odd time, like during my last book, I listened to the same Frank Ocean album again and again and again, thousands of times probably. So I guess the lyrics kind of faded away.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no quick way around it. Like if I was doing a radio show every day, yeah, there's not really it's like stage time. There's no substitute for it. You need to be alone. But I think word counts help, right? And setting a timer helps.
Having a deadline, knowing that someone somewhere is waiting for something from you.
Yeah.
That's a big. Have you ever seen that book called Daily Rituals?
No.
It's just a whole book about this. It's by each writer, some painters, but mostly writers. And they just
fuck a painter.
Each one's ritual. And some of them were decadent, late at night, where they would drink and have their friends, and then they would work from like midnight till 3. But everybody but it was just that routine of doing whatever way they carved it out in their day. That was the most important thing. And mine right now is kind of free form, and it's a struggle.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, then I think it's also the more in your head you get about it, the worse it gets too. So like if you realistically can't, I'm just like giving advice.
It's good.
But like I feel like if you really, like what your life is at the moment. So like if you really can't do 3 hours writing a day, you can't. So beating yourself up about that is just going to take up even more energy. So I think, setting aside a 30-minute block here, a 30-minute block there, and be that like 250 words each time, then at least you've done something. Because I do think, we're very sensitive little creatures, writers are.
It's true.
And so, it's getting the right balance of like our circumstances, but then also not being so absolute, like black and white about it, and not being too hard if something isn't happening. I mean, there is that lovely school of thought too, that's like, oh, even if you're not like physically writing, your brain is always like ticking away. I take comfort in that sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good rationalization for being lazy. There's this,
I know.
what was his name? The great Israeli writer. I forget his name. And his whole thing was that
Edgar Carret?
No, not and his thing was that writers are shopkeepers, and that it's your job just to open up the shop. Amos Oz.
Oh.
Amos Oz. And it's our job. He said, now I'll read it to you. I have it in my phone just because I like it. Great. So much. Now I think of my work as that of a shopkeeper. It is my job to open up in the morning, sit and wait for customers. If I get some, it's a blessed morning. If not, well, I'm still doing my job. So the guilt is gone, and I try to stick to my shopkeeper's routine.
Wait, so he also has a shop?
Oh my God, Maeve, no. Maeve.
What's his shop?
What does he sell in there? How can he write when he's
Of course he's not able to write. Their customers are demanding all the time.
Does he wrap things as gifts? Because that takes a lot of time.
Yeah. I have that stuff in my phone too, like, kind of like different, and it's useful because it is a solitary kind of profession. So it's good to hear about what others did and what works for them. And, and also to remember it's such a good feeling when you have written something,
Yes, I know.
It's the best. It finally like makes sense. Even if it's just like a piece of crap, like like a funny thing for the internet or something, it just feels so good to have it done.
Now, what about the feeling of getting up and doing a set?
Not for me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't give you the same kind of feeling?
No, it doesn't anymore. I mean, for me, it used to be like a compulsion, where I just was, no matter what happens, I gotta get up there tonight. I gotta get,
Yep, gotta do a set.
And do my set, good or bad, and it just faded for me. I just don't have that anymore. And I don't know, I'm not worried about it, but and it was also the pandemic, obviously, because I didn't do stand up for like these past 2 years.
Did that coincide? Is that when you stopped?
No, I was trying to stop doing comedy for like 10 years before I finally stopped. Yeah, no, I couldn't get rid of it. Very much like being in a pretty bad relationship, not abusive really, but like just like a crummy one that like prevents you from finding love.
There is that
and like
thing.
I know the way you work, you care about it, and you put all of this like your intellect and spirit into like the craft of your set, and like and you can see that, you can tell that a million miles away from someone like me who's like, okay, this is what I just do, I guess, like, so I better just keep doing it.
Right. It's a hard thing to get out of. People don't. I literally ran into someone who I thought had left 15 years ago.
Oh no.
And she was hosting a show, and I was like,
wait, what did you say to her? This has the potential to be a really hurtful conversation.
I said, hey, so good to see you.
I thought you were gone.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay,
but
good.
There is that thing, like I almost felt like, yeah, it's like you're not allowed to really leave. Like even you saying that you're out, I don't truly believe you won't be back on stage at some point.
I know. But I have to draw a line under it. I mean,
do you feel better?
Do
you feel like
free?
Shows,
though. Yeah, it feels really good. Like if I had a set, I also think it's harder to write on days that I have a set, because there's just that little edge of I gotta go. And I host my show like that we talked about before, with Joe and Aparna, and hosting is totally fine because like you don't need to do a set, like you just chat and it's easy, and the people do the hard work, like the comics get up and do the hard work, and you still get to like tell your private life to strangers, which for some reason we think is very important.
Everyone needs to know.
Yeah. No, actually, I do think that's a very worthwhile thing to do. But not a set, no. Like if I had to try and think of one now, I'd be at a real loss. I think I'd probably just start talking about like humankind's right to migrate or something, and really just bring everybody down. Nihilism is a choice, like I just be one of those guys.
Start going into just do a reading from your chapter on statues. Confederate statues.
Oh my god. Yeah, guys, here's my take on Confederate statues. Okay, hey,
guys, you're not paying attention.
No phones. Well, they're so polite here in Brooklyn. The audiences, like, the sad thing is they'd probably like give me a chance, and I don't want that
Yes.
either. Like, I want to do, like, if I was going to do stand up, it would have to be like silly, goofy, really good, So if you're not in the
Mhm.
right frame of mind, I don't think I should be like inflicting myself on people either.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
I so treasure like these young comics, like Meg Stalter, Luke Moniz, like a million of them, Carolina, like Greenwich, like just who are goofy and silly at the
Mhm.
moment. It's just such a treat. It's such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a relief.
A
Exactly.
relief.
Just having
Yes.
some fun. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always gravitate towards those people also. A
Yeah.
mix. You like both of them, but the silly is always. That's what I loved about George Carlin, was that he would
Hmm.
be like really railing against something really intensely, and then all of a sudden he'd act like a crab walking across the walking across the thing. This is how a crab walks. It's like,
Yeah.
I like that combo.
I like that combo too. Yeah, totally. And it's the surprise element of it too, from both sides, because suddenly you're like, holy shit, like I'm really thinking about something here. And
Yeah.
then you're like, cracking up.
Right.
Yeah, it's such
Let
a
off that.
service, isn't it, for people who are good at it to do that.
Yeah. No, it really is.
Yeah, he's gonna go far, that guy, George
Yeah.
Carlin.
Yeah.
They're really good on TikTok.
Right. His dances are
Oh
amazing.
my God. How long does he spend editing them?
What's your favorite food?
Honestly, because cinnamon rolls are really up there, because I
Mhm.
just had one.
Yeah. What do you
But
like? What do you think of scones?
I approve.
Me too.
I would say, like, they certainly are. They make me so like sleepy. Like I can feel that they're not exactly like remember what was that thing they were called, like power foods or something? Remember for a while
Yeah.
there people were like, oh, blueberries are power.
Right.
Scones are like the opposite of like a power food or like a superfood.
Right. Superfood.
Like,
That's right.
yeah, they're just like a big dough, like snooze button for me.
Right. And sneaky, because they disguise as something that wouldn't really have that much impact on you.
Well, not the way I eat them, because I eat scones with butter, raspberry jam, and cream. So like they look fairly decadent and
Dress it up.
fairly, yeah. There's no disguising,
This isn't the
And-
Starbucks rock hard scone
No,
in a
oh
bag.
my God, no. My mom makes amazing scones. Absolutely
Really?
beautiful. And like I guess Americans would call them biscuits, like, but they're like sweeter biscuits. And she makes me, and I don't like, she puts sultanas in her scones, but I don't like sultanas, so she always makes like 3 without sultanas for me. But like, as you know, 3 is quite a lot of scones. Like
That's a
these
lot.
are like, these are scones are the size of my fist.
Right.
The 3 of them, like what even, that's like so much scone.
That's a lot of scone, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
But I
happy.
do, I love them. Do you make them?
I do. I make a blueberry scone.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
they're
don't
pretty
put
good.
cream, you don't put like butter and cream on them?
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. No. Maybe these might be have a little more fat and cream in them already
Yeah.
than what your mom makes.
Oh, there's cream in your scones already? Like you put
A little, the milk. There's
milk.
milk in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Was your mom a good baker? Is she still a good baker?
Yeah, I mean, she definitely lost her touch because she just, kept having children and got so tired.
Right.
So like, my sister took up the mantle, and my sister's a food writer now in Ireland, Lily, and she writes for the Irish Times, and she goes on TV there as a TV cook.
Wow.
And she is unbelievable. Now, I would say she's more into cooking than baking.
Mm-hmm.
Although every year for my birthday, when I'm home, she makes like a peanut butter and chocolate cake that's really divine.
Oh boy.
And she does this Nigella. Do you like Nigella Lawson? Do you like her
Yes.
recipes? Yeah, I think she's a really good recipe writer.
Really
like,
good.
as well as, like just this like stunning creature.
Right.
But she has a recipe for like chocolate ganache that's foolproof, as long as you don't like heat the cream too much, I guess.
Right.
That just makes a chocolate cake seem so like, it levels it up so much.
Oh boy.
Because it's like a shining crown on the cake.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, a peanut butter cake with chocolate ganache. That's like a mashup of like my sister Lily's recipes and Nigella Lawson's. That's gonna be my death row meal. Imagine if
So you're more sweet than savory?
Yeah, I mean, I
That's your
I do
love?
like a savory breakfast, actually, even going
Uh-huh.
against what I have just been saying. But I do like a, omelet with kimchi or something for my breakfast.
Mm-hmm. Omelet with kimchi. I've never had an omelet with kimchi.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It really is like a strong start to your morning. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
The anti-scone.
In one corner, we got a skull. In the other corner, kimchi.
Ding ding.
Yeah. What's your top breakfast?
I like a nice egg sandwich on sourdough.
Oh, lovely.
Sourdough
Yeah.
toast, but like with some arugula on it and maybe some Dijon mustard, and
Lovely.
that's a really good one. I've been preaching about this gentleman's breakfast, which is this English. You take sourdough toast and you take anchovies and garlic the night before in soft butter and salt and you mix it all together, and then you put it into the refrigerator and let it harden. And then in the morning you take out and you make a slice of sourdough toast, and then you smother this concoction on top of it.
Heaven.
It's so good.
Because I have anchovies. I have a tin of anchovies there, and I can't remember why I got them. I think I was going to make a Caesar dressing or something, but I was like, what was I doing with those? But I could do that with them.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm no gentleman. Let me tell you.
You are a lady. A lady's breakfast.
A lady's breakfast. Yeah. And then it's absolutely stinking.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, you can't, you either have to have your friends eat it too, or stay by yourself. Again, another advantage to another aid to being alone as a writer.
Yeah. I absolutely love that idea. And there's something very like 18th century about it as well, like, which I guess is why they call it that. It's just such like, for your constitution, sir.
Right. And the wrinkle is to have some scrambled eggs on the side of it.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Oh,
So
good.
It's raw garlic,
chopped up, and anchovies.
Yeah.
And just put it in soft butter and mix it all together the night before, and then just leave it in the refrigerator. Oh,
or even just with cheese would be lovely. I remember my brother fell for this. Like, there was like a short-lived advertising campaign in Ireland when we were teenagers, and it was like, take a cheese break or something. and they're trying to introduce the idea that you kind of stop your day, like, I guess in the way we have coffee,
right,
and have a handful of cheese. And like, everyone was like, oh, shut up, dairy council, or like, nobody's gonna. Well, my brother took it, Mom, why don't we have a cheese break? We never had a cheese break today.
Time for a cheese break.
It's not a real
it's not a real thing that people do. It's kind of great though. I can see being suckered into that.
I could, yeah. In fact, now, because I'm such a, I actually have a hunk of manchego that I'm thinking about burning a hole in my fridge. So maybe I'll have a cheese break,
Yeah, why not?
Just eat that.
It's the best.
And that would also put a stop to my sugar roller coaster that I'm on.
Yeah, I know. You got to get off at some point. You have to just detach.
You got to take a manchego stop.
Yeah, take a knee, Maeve. Bring it in, everybody.
Yeah.
So how am I going to see you in New York if you don't go to the clubs anymore?
I mean, I'm happy to go as an audience member, and obviously give devastating notes afterwards. Or during.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. This show that I do in New York, this Come to Papa Live, I've been doing for years, and it was like as a little training ground, a writing training ground because I always loved Prairie Home Companion.
Oh yeah.
And then I ended up as the head writer for the new Prairie Home Companion with Chris Thiele, which you had an amazing appearance.
I did the first one
in St. Paul.
Yeah. I did
And
that first one. It was so brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, you were so good on that. You were so good, and people can see
Gosh.
it actually online. It's
Yeah.
still living. But yeah, so that's what that little show was. It's just like this little incubator to like write comedy and sketch and that kind of a thing. And
It
it was
does
all
sound like,
because of Prairie
yeah.
Home. Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound lovely. Well, I hope I get to see you in New York, aka my hometown.
Oh man. I'm from New York also. And just because I'm out here temporarily doesn't mean that you get to take over the town.
It's my town. This town is not big enough for the two of us.
You don't even have a
famously.
bookcase
It's only
anymore.
oh, that hurts. I was just gonna
Two suitcases does not constitute roots. Oh, can we talk about rats, by the way, before we leave? Can we talk about rats? Because I know you're obsessed with rats.
I mean,
and this is
it's all I can think about. Last night I did this. Wait, let me just check though, because I have to do Nagin's show. You know Nagin Farsad?
Yes, I love Nagin. She loves me.
Of course she does. Although that's not what she said. Tom Papa. Yeah, no, I don't think she would use the word love. No, I'm just
Weird.
kidding. Weird. Wait, I'm just checking. Yeah, I have to do that at 1:30.
At 1:30, and it's 1:31 now.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
I'm really sorry. It's my fault because I was late.
It's my fault. I should have asked about the rats. It should have been my first question.
No, you don't want to. It really upsets people.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, and I know all. I live there, but now that it's gone to this whole other level, I just.
So do you know he's a comedy writer, Karl Arnheiter, I wrote about him because a rat came up his toilet.
Oh, I heard about that.
In Long
guy.
Island.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh,
and so and his son, so I talked to him.
Did you read that book, Rats, that was all about the rats in New York?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
And it's due an update because that's a pretty was from at least about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And since then there's been, what we call a rat explosion in the city.
All right, we're gonna end it there. Say hi, Nagin. Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay,
Congratulations on the book.
I hope I see you in New York.
All right, it'll be
okay.
Great.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right, there it is. That is the great interview with the great Maeve Higgins. I told you she's a delight. She's a delight. She's one of my new favorite people. Go get her book. Tell everyone on the train I love them. It's so funny. It's really great. It's got great commentary and great sense of humor. Maeve Higgins, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the people at Ritual Multivitamins for coming on board. And also a big thank you to all of you. You are the best. Our listeners are amazing. It was so nice being on tour over the last weekend, even just the last 2 shows, and having people in Eugene, Oregon, and people in Thousand Oaks, California, coming up and saying they love listening to the podcast. Keep them coming, highlighting their favorite guests. Gaffigan was a good one. Ari Shafir was another one that people were mentioning. So it's always nice to know that the community is growing and more people are coming to the table every week. You guys are the best. I'll see you next time.